Alexander. That's my son. He'll be helping me out during this video. I wanted to explain a little bit, my chair. I wanted to explain a little bit about the new style of cloth diapering for people who are unfamiliar with such things. A lot of the information that people are getting is from their parents or people who haven't really seen anything about cloth diapering in, say, 10 or 15 years or better. And things have changed a lot when it comes to cloth diapering as opposed to what it used to be. So I want to kind of go through what some of the new options are versus what the old option was and explain the difference, and then explain a little bit about what the new options offer. So to get started, I'm going to be using our little leapfrog puppy here as a demonstration model. I don't have a good way to mask my son's boy parts so as to not be lewd on YouTube, so I'll show him clothed in a diaper, excuse me, sorry, here in a little bit, but I don't want to take the diaper off of him so that you can see everything. So this is easier. I'll use him. He's a pretty good size. Yes, I have two of them. This one does not work, so that's why I have two. You hear the other one going off in the background, but he's a pretty good size. He's, you know, similar to the size of a newborn baby, so he'll be a pretty good model, other than the fact that his legs are kind of flat at the top and stuff. But I'll show off some things at the end on my son so that you can get a better feel for what you're looking at. So let me make sure you can see this little guy while I'm doing this. I think over here is probably best. Yeah, okay. So to start with, what most people in the older generation are familiar with is going to be what's called a pre-fold, which is this guy here. I keep looking over there because I can actually see my camera over there, so I want to make sure that you can see what I'm showing you. That's why I keep looking away. I'll bring this a little bit closer. This is a pre-fold. Mine's not as quilty as some of the ones that you'll see. The reason for that is I don't have a washer and dryer. I hand wash all of my cloth diapers, so it's ripply, but not as much as you might see on some other ones. And the old method, move some of this stuff out of the way. The old method used to be, and you can still diaper your child this way, it is possible to do so, and I'll show you a little bit about that, but I'm going to do a different video addressing this kind of cloth diapering later, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But to start with, on this one, what you would do is you would lay the pre-fold flat underneath your child. And again, I'm not really going into the particulars of this, so I'm just kind of demonstrating. It's not perfect. But then you lift it up, and you pull the pre-fold around on the legs. And then typically, in old school cloth diapering, you would use a diaper pin. So like pins with sharp edges. What we think of when we think of old cloth diapering. And then see, you've got the diaper on the baby on the edges, and then you would put pins on either side to keep it on baby. Now there's an alternative that's plastic. Snappy's is one of the brands, and what it does is it's plastic, and it pulls the sides into the center and keeps everything together and secure on your child. With this option, you do need a cover. I mean, you can leave them in just this, but it's not waterproof and it'll get wet as soon as it gets wet. So the option is, this is one, this is a cover. This one is from Econobums. And I'll show this to you and try and pull it up close to the camera. And this, I'll show you that. You can hear it kind of crunch, and you can see that it's shiny. This is called Pull, and it's laminated fabric, which makes it waterproof. And what this does is, in the situation that we're in over here with the pre-fold over the baby, you put cover over said pre-fold, and then you have something waterproof to go over the top of baby's diaper so that it's not getting wet all over everything and whatnot. And then you can reuse the covers and whatnot, but again, I'm not really getting into that. This is another kind of cover, which I'll just briefly show you. This is a fleece one that I have for my son. You just kind of pull this up over the diaper, this kind, and a couple other kinds, to go over the top as a cover, because since fleece wicks, it keeps it dry. So we'll put those off to the side, since that's not really what we're going over here. Now, that is a very old school method of cloth diapering, and unfortunately this is what's commonly presented to us as common from the older generations. And this video actually sprang from a post in a mom group that I'm part of, where a woman was asking if cloth diapering is really as gross as her mother made it out to be. And it's really common for moms to do that because in older days it was really complicated to deal with all of this, and disposables were just so much easier. They were such an innovation, and they freed mothers from more complicated stuff. And again, the danger of sticking your baby with the pins and all of that mess, and it was difficult back then, and it's a lot easier now, and I'll show you why. Now, this here, I'll fold this up. Yeah, there we go. This is an Alva baby diaper, and this is the kind that I'm speaking about today. This is a one-size pocket diaper, and I'm going to be talking about pocket diapers in particular. Forgive me, by the way, I may have to move away from the camera a time or two to tend to him. He's got two teeth coming in at the same time, because why not? So, basically, this will fit your child up until potty training, or it should, depending on the size of your child. These go pretty high. I want to say the Alvas fit up to like 30 or 35 pounds, somewhere along those lines. So it should fit your child until potty training, and I'll show you how. This is more of the newer method that is coming out of how to cloth diaper your child, and it makes things so much easier. So, I've unsnapped the rise. My son is on the smallest rise. These snaps here out front, make sure, yeah, there we go. These snaps here out front, what they do is, again, my son is on the smallest rise. This is a full rise, so this snapped out like this would probably fit like a 1 or 2 year old, depending on your child's size. This is a pretty big diaper as it sits. Here, I'll lay it out flat and show you. That's a pretty large size diaper. I mean, you're talking probably on par with like a size 6 diaper or better. If you're looking at disposables, this is going to be a pretty big diaper. So what you do is you take these rise snaps, and there's 2 rises down at the bottom, and you snap them up to the highest rise if you're diapering someone small. My son was 2 months premature, so he's a little on the small side, and I'll go into that a little more when I demonstrate the diaper on him. Forgive me, that was Facebook. So now it's on the tightest rise, and what that's done, if you look from the side, you can see how it's cinched the fabric, and what that's done is it's made the leg hole smaller, and because the leg hole's smaller, it's going to get us a tighter fit around his legs to make sure that we're not getting leaks or blowouts or anything like that. And then the other thing that you've got, and I'll explain a little more about this later, is you've got the top snaps. And the top snaps obviously are for closure of the diaper, so you can put the diaper together. And I'll go into a little more, excuse me, about that construction here in a little bit. Okay, so now that you've got your pocket diaper, which it's called a pocket because there's a hole in the back that is a full-size pocket into the diaper that goes all the way to the front. So that's why they're called pocket diapers. So now that we've gone into that, you have to decide what it is that you're going to stuff your pocket diaper with, because you have to put something inside that's absorbent, of course. Because in this case, since this is an Alva, since this is an Alva, it's micro suede on the inside, so the first layer is micro suede, which I really enjoy. It's very stain resistant and it dries very quickly, which is good for me since I have to line dry or dry in the house since I don't have a dryer. The outer is the pull, like I talked about earlier, the laminated fabric, so that keeps it as waterproof. So, first option, which there are multiple, I'm only going to go over a few here in this video. This is a microfiber insert. This one in particular is from a company called Bum Genius, and at the end of this video I'll put links to all of the things that I talk about, places that you can go to buy them, and what it is that I'm talking about as well. They'll be in the description of the video. This is a Bum Genius, and this is a microfiber insert. This is one of the most common inserts that you will come into contact with. It comes with a lot of diapers. It's pretty standard. You cannot put this against your baby's skin. If you put this directly against your baby's skin, it will suck the oils out of his or her skin. And it's very bad for them. It can dry out their skin extremely badly. 2 seconds. You're okay. Hey. Get that out of your eye. Is that? No. There you go. Okay. So microfiber, most common. Don't want to put this against the skin. Very bad. This goes inside the pocket. And in this case, this one has snaps on it. I'm not sure why the snaps are there, I'll be completely honest with you. I have one Bum Genius diaper, but it doesn't have any snap spots on the inside. So I don't know if there are ones that do have them, but mine do not. But since the snap actually has what I guess you would call a female end and a male end, I actually just stick them together. And what that does is it creates a crease that gives him more protection in what I call his wet zone. Because he's a boy, he wets more toward the front, so I snap it down. And any insert that I put in inside the diaper, I fold down. It doesn't matter what it is, I fold it down. Now, in his case, one microfiber insert is playing a dangerous game because he doesn't do so well with one. My son is a heavy wetter. Hey. You're falling on your toy. Okay, sorry about that. One is a dangerous game for him because he's a heavy wetter. Typically, if it's microfiber, I put in 2. That or I use one of these, which is called a doubler, and I believe these ones in particular, which I'll bring closer to the camera, they're just kind of square. They're pretty thin, but they're really absorbent. I believe these are from a company called Dappy, which is D-A-P-P-I, and I'll look that up when I'm done making this video and make sure that that's the proper company. I bought them off of Amazon. They were super cheap, and they actually work pretty well. So what I do most of the time is I'll layer them together because this is a lot less bulky than 2 microfiber inserts. Matter of fact. Oh, of course, I forgot to get this before I started the video. Okay, there we go. So this is another microfiber insert. This is one of the ones that came with my Alba diapers because I ordered them as a set and they came with them. Okay, so this is 2 microfiber together. That's fairly thick, and when you fold it over, that's pretty huge. And I'm gonna go over this here in a minute, but at nighttime we were actually using 3 of these and he was still peeing just right through them. So I'll explain my nighttime solution here in a few, and you'll understand why that's a really difficult thing for parents to decide when they first start cloth diapering. So I like to use these because if you look, the bulk is much less. And the less bulk you have for baby, the more room they have to move around and the better it is. I mean, all cloth babies have what we call fluffy butts. They're a little bit bulkier than disposables, and they're gonna be because there's more to them. So anyway, in this case, you take the insert, you grab the diaper, the pocket, you put it inside. I wedge it sideways, like fold it, so that it's easier for me to get in there. I have tiny hands. So we just pull it through, put the insert in the diaper, and then pull out. And there we are. And you can see, I mean, it's a little bulky, but this is pretty standard for a cloth diaper. This isn't super bulky or anything. It's just pretty standard. And that's a microfiber insert. And the benefit to these is when you stuff the microfiber inserts in there, and there are a couple other kinds like cotton or cotton terry or whatever the case may be. If you put those in there, you can just snap these up and have them ready to go. Yeah. You see my cube organizer over there. My stuff's kind of in a pile right now, but on my cube organizer over there, I usually have them stacked up for the ones that I have pre-stuffed, and then I just grab, set it down, put baby in, put diaper on, and we're good to go. And it's quick and easy, and it's just as easy as putting a disposable on them if you pre-stuff them. So that's one option. The other option that I use during the daytime that I like a lot better is this.
No, they did. I saw it.
This is kind of hard to see because it's not very bright, and this is really dark, but this is a charcoal bamboo insert. And charcoal bamboo I like for a couple of reasons. Charcoal bamboo, for one, can go directly against the skin. It's not harmful to baby at all. It is a stay dry material, so if you feel this, it's going to feel dry even if it's wet, which I have another video that I posted that covers that as well, and I show you the difference between the look and feel of a wet charcoal bamboo insert and a not wet charcoal bamboo insert, because it is difficult to tell the difference if you're not used to it. So what these are is there's 3 layers of microfiber in the center of this and the core, which you should be able to see. I don't know if you can see it or not, but turn it sideways a little. There's a line here, and that's where the inner core is. And then there's 2 layers, one here and one here, of the charcoal bamboo. He's being a goofball. So there's 2 layers of the charcoal bamboo, one on either side. The charcoal bamboo wicks the moisture into the inner core and keeps the outer layers dry, so your baby doesn't feel wet, which is nice, especially if you have children, because I know there are some moms in particular that their babies and kiddos don't like to be wet. My son is one of them. He's not a big fan of being wet, and he will scream to the ends of the earth when he's wet because he can't stand it. So I always know when he has a wet diaper, whether he lets me know or not. I'm pretty good at keeping track of it, but he lets me know. So this is pretty useful for that. So there's that. Also, we've introduced blueberries recently to my son, and oh my god, the staining. Blueberries are like the bane of my existence, to be completely honest, and this doesn't stain. I've never been able to successfully stain one of these with anything that I've fed him. Pretty much everything else I use stains, with the exception of the micro suede. The micro suede doesn't like to stain either, so that's the big reason why I like the Albas. But these are super useful. The other nice thing about it is, since they can go against baby skin, you just lay this on the inside, and if he doesn't get the shell wet, as far as like getting the outside wet, which can happen, if you leave the baby in the diaper for too long, or he has an excessively wet day or whatever, you can get the outside wet, and it doesn't mean you're a failure. It happens. It also doesn't mean your cloth is bad, or that cloth is bad in general. It happens until you get used to it. So with me, if it's a little bit wet down here around the gusset, I'm not that worried about it. If it goes out farther than that, then I get rid of the shell, or if he poops, because I don't want him in that if there's any poop on or near it. So in a general case, you can just switch out the insert. You take the insert out, and I think you can see, yeah, I've got my wicker basket over there. That's where I put my dirty diapers. I don't have like a pail liner or anything, so I just use the wicker basket. You can just take this and chuck it in the pail, and then you're good to go, and you can just put a new one in. He's tired. Anyway, so this makes it a super easy option for daytime. It's really, really super easy, and it makes it easier for you as far as diapers are concerned, because you get to use this shell multiple times. So you're not having to switch out the entire diaper every time, which for me is easier on my back, because since I have to wash them by hand, it gets kind of a pain, and the less work you can do, the better. So there's that. Then, I was talking about nighttime options. Let me pull this out. There you go. Okay, so nighttime options. There are choice because, like say this during the daytime is great because it absorbs really quickly and it absorbs a lot. Quickly is good for daytime because they pee smaller amounts and they pee it extremely quickly because they're awake. Whereas at nighttime they're asleep, so it's coming out slow and constant, and there's sometimes multiple wettings through the night, so it's really difficult to keep them dry, especially if they're sleeping for like 10 to 12 hours when they start to sleep through the night, which is the problem I had with my son because he does sleep through the night. So he has since he was like 2.5 months old. So I was having to come up with some good options, and I bought the pre-folds. And what I do with the pre-folds, here. I know your teeth hurt. You want your toy? Here. Flip on over so you can get it in your mouth. Here. There you go. With the pre-folds, what's nice about these is they have a real thick inner. There's 3 layers on each edge here. You see the 3 sections. There's 3 layers on each edge. They're thinner on the outside edge, but there's still 3 layers there. So what I do is I fold the pre-fold over, so one side over and the other side over, so that it looks similar to an insert. And this is pretty common. And then I fold it down for about the first couple of inches, because again, since I have a boy, I want to make sure his wet zone is protected and covered and gets enough absorption. And when you fold it this way, that gives you 9 layers. If you fold it over again, that gives you 18, if I'm doing my math correctly. So, chill, kiddo. You can do this the same way on girls. I've seen people who have either folded it directly in half and put it underneath the center of their girl, or folded it just farther down. I don't have a girl, and I'm unfortunately probably not going to be able to have any more children, so I can't really speak to that necessarily. I'm just giving you ideas by what I was told, but there's many other videos about cloth diapering girls as opposed to boys. There's a lot of videos out there for cloth diapering girls. There's not a lot about how to cloth diaper boys, and there is a difference, which I'm going to get to when I do our model and my son here. So, if he'd be patient with me. This is a great nighttime option because this absorbs a lot of liquid, but it absorbs it slowly. So since it matches kind of the rhythm of nighttime, it works extremely well. And you just stuff this inside the pocket diaper like you would any other insert. So there's the example of that. Now, when we get to this, to put this on your baby, the first thing that you need to know that's different between disposables and cloth is that when it comes to disposables, when you're using them, you want to have them set about halfway up your child's back. In this case, you don't want that. Here. You want that guy? Is that what you wanted? There you go. You don't want it that far up their back. You want it to sit at their natural waist. Let me make sure you can see this guy really well. There we go. You want it at their natural waist. So, when you lift the baby, you get it to their natural waist. So you make sure it's at their natural waist, and then you want to turn this into kind of a V shape when you go up with it. And you want to make sure that the gussets on the edges here match the creases of your baby. So the crease on their inner thighs that leads into their private areas, that's what you're looking for. Okay. You don't gotta try to crawl over him. There you go. Silly. So you want to make sure that it gets into the creases there. And on a boy, the key difference here that you have to remember is that on a girl, making sure that you get a snug fit is good, but you need to pull up at the top here to make sure that you're getting nice and snug around the boy parts, and you also want to make sure that they're pointing down just like you would in a disposable, otherwise it's going to pee right up out of the diaper. So pulling it tight up here at the top, make sure that you've got a tight fit around his areas so that he's not peeing in whatever direction and that you're getting a good seal. That's the one thing that I had a hard time finding about cloth diapers, and I was getting a lot of leaks with my son, and that's why, because I wasn't pulling tight enough at the top to make sure that it was snug. So you want to make sure that it's snug. So, once you got it nice and snug up there, if it's on a boy, you're going to want to pull nice and tight so the back elastic gets taut. You want it to be a little bit taut. Oh, come here. You can help. You want to help? Can you help? Hmm? Can you help? Alright. So, you want to make sure that the elastic gets taut, and then you want to snap the diaper together. You want to do this on both sides and make sure that you're getting it a nice snug fit. You don't want the elastic to like tear into your kid's skin, obviously, because that doesn't make any sense. But you want to make sure that it's nice and snug so that the diaper's not trying to come off. So this isn't a very good job, obviously, because it's a toy, but I've gotten it nice and taut in the back. I've got the front snaps where they need to be, and I've got the V in the center there. So the other thing about these diapers that I was mentioning earlier is the hip snaps, which is the second rise snap here that's down at the bottom. On these, the Alvas, there's only one, but on different diapers, like this one's a rump arounds from a different company, it's got double snaps all the way across to the bottom, and I'll explain why that's important in a second. So the dreaded thing that we get from diapers that don't have hip snaps is what's called a wing droop. That's one version. This is the extreme version. And then where are you? You've got a leaky diaper, you've got pee everywhere, and it's just a mess. So those hip snaps, what they do is they help keep the top of the diaper where it's supposed to go, so that it's not drifting around and baby's not pulling it off or moving it around where it's not supposed to be, particularly for the kiddos that are mobile. You're drooling all over me. So that's obviously a nice feature to have. I know that it's enticing because you can see what's called the China cheapies on Amazon, where you can get some from companies like, one of the brands that I have is like Zing Shao Baby or something along those lines. It was like $4 for a diaper, which I should have known better, and I wouldn't ever suggest it because mine have messed up elastic and look like garbage. I use them for overnight since we don't ever have leaks. I don't really have to worry about the elastic fit in the legs, but the elastic's not even in the right place. So I would never suggest that you buy those, but there are some brands that don't have a hip snap. They just have the single snap all the way across. Those are really difficult to keep on your kid in a proper manner. So this one is even better because it's got the double snaps all the way across the front, and that gives you even more, because if you look, I'll snap this together. You've got double the snaps, keeping it up and keeping it from coming down out of the diaper. So these are pretty handy too. And again, these are rump arounds. These ones have a double gusset, which can be handy but really aren't necessary. It's meant to make it function more like a disposable, to keep like a poop in. But honestly, I don't see a big difference between these and those. I really like the Alvas the most because they're the most cost effective, and I'll be completely honest with you when I say that I was donated and gifted a lot of my diapers because of the situation that I was in at the time, and I guess that I'm still in, but I had to kind of make a decision as to whether to use what little money I had to buy disposables, or make the investment to get into a little bit of cloth so that I didn't have to worry about whether or not I could diaper my son. So I made the decision to get into cloth, and it was I was nice enough to have a lady from a local cloth diaper group donate some diapers to me, and I now have, I think, 12, which is respectable, but I still have to wash every day to every other day, which is kind of a pain. But because of that, and I have a friend that has sent me some diapers as well, I've gotten a unique opportunity to try out all sorts of different brands, albeit used. Some of them were new. Charlie Banana is my least favorite brand of all. They're weird, they snap funny, and they're just a pain, and they take forever to dry, and they stain for anything. Like, anytime you get anything anywhere near it, it stains. Hi. But I've tried Charlie Banana, I've tried Fuzzy Buns, I've tried the Rump-Arounds, I've tried Bumpkins, I've tried Bum Genius. I mean, I've gotten a unique opportunity to try out all sorts of brands of diapers, and this is my favorite. Alva is my favorite, tried and true, and they have a really good warranty. And when I do and am able to purchase my own diapers, I will be getting myself a huge pack of Alvas with charcoal bamboo inserts. So now that I've gone over all of that, make sure, I'm gonna flip my little man over here. He's already in his pajamas. He's in his bath, but I'm gonna take his little jammy pants off here so you can see what the diaper looks like on him, so you've got a better idea. So, you stand up for me, baby. You can see that I've got it nice and snug on his rear, and he's got a nice tight fit here, and it's at his natural waist. So it's actually at waist level instead of halfway up the back, like what you would see on a disposable. If he was an Esposi, it would be all the way up to here. Since this is a cloth, that's farther down. He's got, let me flip you over. He's got nice tight fit up front with the hip snaps and everything. Everything's together, and he's on the tightest rise, which makes sure that everything's good to go for him. Turn that away. You can see the V shape to an extent. Yeah, you can see the V shape to an extent that I've put together for here, and you can see that he's got a nice tight fit on his legs here, and we don't have any droop or holes. Everything's held in, and he's good to go. And then he is wearing a charcoal bamboo. I don't know how well you can see that, but you can see the charcoal bamboo. One of the tests that I do to see how wet they are is you pinch right here at the top. You have to pinch really hard, but you can also feel if it's wet. But typically, if you just come up here, like when he's wandering around during the day, if I just grab right here, just ever so slightly, I can tell when it's heavier now that I'm used to using them, and then I know when it's time to change him. So that's another way that you can do that. But this is one on him in particular. I mean, as far as cloth diapering a girl, it's pretty much the same method, but you don't need to worry so much about pulling it up at the top, because girls don't pee out the top of their diapers very often, or at least not that I've heard of. So you want to pay more attention to a girl's wet zone and making sure that you've got the coverage that you need down there. So I think that's pretty much it.
See you guys.
You've seen it on him, you've seen it on a model, you've seen a little bit more about what your options are and how a one-size pocket functions and what purpose they serve and how useful they can be. So I hope that, he says hello, I hope that this video served as pretty informational for those of you out there that are new to all of this and don't really know what you're looking for. I know when I first started looking at cloth diapering, I was so confused, and I didn't even understand all the terminology that people were throwing at me, and there was no real good basic explanation. I even searched cloth diapering 101, and I was still confused. So, like, I didn't know the difference between an all-in-one and an all-in-two and a pocket and a hybrid fitted and a fitted, and there's so many different ones. This is just one of the options that I'm displaying to you today. But in future videos, I'm going to show you a little bit more about the other ones, because I do have some of the other diapers that are out there, and I can show them to you, which I will do. But this is a good introduction to what cloth diapering is these days and how it compares to what our parents and their parents are accustomed to, and how easy it really can be. Because to be honest with you, if I had known that it was this easy to cloth diaper my son, I would have made the investment well before he was born, because you can get a good pack, like stash is what they're typically called, of cloth diapers together for somewhere between, honestly, $100 and $200 if you do it on the budget end, and then you will probably never have to buy diapers again until you have another baby. Oh, and these, they last forever. I mean, some of them are really good quality and can last you a really long time, so you may even be able to keep them for your next child if you wanted to. And the resale value of cloth diapers is extremely high. I mean, you're only talking about a $3 to $4 difference if you take proper care of them. And that all depends on what you consider proper care. Another video that I'm going to do in the coming days is going to discuss wash routines and how to properly wash your cloth diapers without all the hooey and garbage that they tell you about cloth diapering, safe detergent, and all that mess. So I'll kind of debunk some things and explain what it is to wash some cloth diapers as well. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be making much more of these, so feel free to subscribe to me, comment, and you can even ask questions. I'm a full-time student as well as a mom, so I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as I can, but I'm really interested in hearing what you ladies want to know, and or what you want to see from me in the coming weeks or months or whatever the case may be. So feel free to comment, you know, ask questions, whatever you want. So me and Alexander, we'll see you next time.